squelch. Hello, Nick here. Got a new radio. New to me anyway. And man, it is really cool. This is a Sony Air8. And they made another one that looks the same to it called a Pro80. I actually have one of those too. But it's nowhere near as cool. Even though it looks the same, it's nowhere near as cool because this is a full coverage radio. It'll do the whole HF band, all the way up to 30 megahertz. Now, there's no VFO, so you have to manually dial in the frequency you want. So there's no VFO, you can't scroll, tune scroll. But this one, I keep mixing them up. Air8 Pro80. Oh my gosh, I'm going crazy here. What's this one called? This one's called Air8. Sony Air8. So this one's called an Air8, and this one's called Pro80. So this one, the video's not about this one. All right, so we're gonna put that one in the garbage can over here. And we're doing a video on this one. This is the one that's basically full coverage. There's a term for it, dawn to daylight or something like that. Like you can go way down at the bottom, even though I don't think it really does long wave. I didn't try though. It'll go all the way up to 30 megahertz, and it'll even go higher. Does the FM broadcast band. And then when you originally bought these brand new, they came with this like adapter that was like the size of a pack of cigarettes. And you would put it between the antenna and the radio and then put the antenna on top of the adapter. It's kind of a dorky setup. And then you could get the, above the FM broadcast band. So you could get the air band, and then you can get some of those, the military air band, and then you can get like those ham bands and stuff like that. I don't have that adapter, and I'm not sure I even want to try to find one because who the heck wants to walk around with a pack of cigarettes on top of this and then an antenna on top of that? So this thing does full HF, including SSB, which you were just listening to. It also has 2 bandwidth filters, wide and narrow. And I'm pretty sure they're the same filters that are in the Sony 2010 ICF-2010, believe it or not, okay? And so it does full HF, and it also does the FM broadcast band. And that's all I ever do. So if you ever watch any of my 4 billion videos I got on YouTube, I'm not doing stuff above that, except maybe sometimes if a radio has it just to see if it works. So this radio is right up my alley, and it is cool. So let's go over the controls. All right, so let's back up. I got this, I think I might, so if you watch any of my videos, a month, maybe 6 weeks ago, I got a Sony SW77, and it had been rebuilt by a radio technician who I believe was also he was fixing these Sony radios back in the day when they were like at a warranty center or something. So this guy knows what he's doing. His name is Adele, A-D-E-L, and I bought this stuff off of him on eBay. And so if he has his eBay name is like A.S. Della Sayed. It's kind of, I can't remember off the top of my head, but if you just go to eBay and search Sony SW55 repair kit. That's it. He'll sell you the parts and you can put them in yourself, or he'll provide the whole service. And he does it for just about any Sony radio. I bought this from him. I bought the SW77 from him. Had him fix SW55, other stuff. The guy's awesome. Awesome. Okay? Can't say enough good things about him. Anyway, so if you're interested or if you got a Sony that needs to get fixed, go to eBay and search Sony SW55 repair kit. And you'll see what I'm talking about. So, controls. All right. So we've got power, volume, squelch, and then this is a two position, the top one and the bottom one. So so these buttons here push and lock. And on the volume, when you push it and lock it, that just keeps you from inadvertently changing the volume. On the squelch, it actually, if it's up, it's a manual squelch, and you can set the squelch anywhere you want, okay? But if you push it down and lock it, it becomes auto squelch, where it's a factory preset squelch level. So like the first time I was using this thing, I says, oh, okay, I don't need to change the volume, and I'm really not going to change the squelch from where I had it set. So I pushed both of them down, and the radio stopped working. And I'm like, oh man, my radio's broken already? No, it's not broken. It goes to auto squelch. And if you're like on the FM broadcast band and you're listening to kind of a weaker station or something like that, if you push this down, you'll lose it. So you have to back it up, put it on manual squelch and back it off. But if you're like on the Air band or something like that, auto squelch is awesome because you don't have to fiddle with it. You just push the button and you're done, okay? It's really cool. And then the bottom one sets so you got 4 memory positions, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then each memory position has 10 placeholders, 1 through 0. So technically there's 40 memories you can put in here. And unlike this one, because that switch committed you to those specific bands, so you'd have 10 memories for each band. This is 40 memories for the whole radio. So you could make them all HF if you want. You can make them all FM broadcast if you want. You can do anything you want. And then it's a dual position. So the top one is the fine tune. So if you read what it says fine/SSB. So you can select AM fine tune mode. And so you see how there's little yellow dots and they're writing underneath it. So to access that secondary thing, you press and hold this, then you press the corresponding button. So this would be AM narrow, AM wide. I can't read it in this light. 6 is AM fine tune, 9 is SSB, and then you can read the other ones too. All right, so you just press and hold function, and then you press that, and you get that thing. And then, all right, so we're listening to Gander. I think it was a Gander, and their frequency is 6754. Now, this radio is not off frequency. Let me explain. The tuning steps on the radio are fixed for the different bands. In the HF band, meaning above medium wave up to 30 megahertz, the tuning step is 5 kilohertz. If you direct tune, manually enter 6755, that's what you get. If you try to tune in 6754, it defaults to 6755. Or maybe it defaults. So you cannot manually tune it to something between what the tuning step is set for. In order to get between the steps, you have to use the fine tune function. And then you use this knob up here to drag it down or bring it up. So if we wanted to go to 6756, we would tune to the same place, 6755, and then turn this the opposite way and go up 1 kilohertz. And if you read the manual, this knob has a total span of plus or minus 3.5 kilohertz. So you go either way. So, so you can get all the frequencies between the steps. So 6750, 6755, you can get everything in between, whether you tune 55 and go down or whether you tune 50 and go up. And so we were just listening to 6754 Gander on SSB, and it was coming in awesome. And let's talk about the antenna. So the antenna, this thing threads in. So this is not, this is something that I'm not familiar with. It's a mount, right? I don't think it's like a common one. It's not a BNC. It's not a BNC. It's not an SMA. I think, and I could be wrong, I think it's called a TNC. Or at least that's what the manual said. And I've never seen adapters for that to go to something else. Now, apparently when this radio was brand new, Sony gave you one in the box, or at least I think they did. And then you could screw the TNC adapter on and have a BNC on top, and then I could just put my Wellbrook lead onto the radio. Well, I don't have that TNC adapter, so I'll hunt eBay for one. So in the meantime, I have the factory antenna on here. And then what I do is I have my Wellbrook terminated in alligator clips. So I just clipped it to the metal portion of the antenna and then pressed the two plastic parts together to kind of hold the clip to keep it from the weight of the thing from pulling away. So is it ideal? No, of course not, but it works. It increases the signal or the gain or whatever you want to call it. And it works well. Is it optimum? I don't think it is. But it will be when I find that TNC adapter. So, all right. So those are those three controls, power. Oh, it also, I think there's an improved LED light. It's on the side here somewhere. Here it is. Oops, see that? I don't think the original one's lit up like that. Let's see. Here's the original one. Let's see what the light looks like on this one. Yeah, look at that. You can barely see it. All right. And this one lights up like Broadway, okay, in New York City, Times Square on Christmas Eve. Look at that. Beautiful. Oh, and then and all the things you do, you can see and read them on the dial here. So you see those 4 tick marks right there? Those correspond to the 4 memory positions. You can see that the line gets thicker for 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then on the side here, you've got 1 through 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 9, and then 0. So there's 10. So you get a solid dot for whichever position you're on. So, okay, so I'm on 4. I have all my utilities here. So position 1, okay, and then we go up, okay? And then I don't even have anything set for these last 4. All right, and then if you come down, there's 3. There's FM broadcast. Oh, you see it's not working? Why is it not working? This is a quiz, all right? Who guessed the right answer? Because I had the button pushed for auto squelch. See, that first one was very weak. Very weak.
At the very first game of the season, where
and then I think I got we moved to position 1. I think these are my AM broadcast.
A point of attack with Peninsula.
All right. So then to direct tune, you hit direct, and then you hit the frequency you want. So let's put the light back on. We'll go to direct, 10, execute, and there's WWV. Or you can go to the 49 meter band. Direct 6070, Super Weak Toronto. You can kind of hear it. Super weak. It's only about 7:15 p.m. here, so it's still a little early for this one. Here we go, direct. So here's that super weak one where I'm always messing with. So let's mess with the filters. So can you see this? That you see where it says wide, narrow, and then SSB? All right, and the tick mark is underneath wide. So watch what happens when I hit function and hold that and hit 8, it moves to narrow. Now we're on narrow filter. And if I want to do SSB, I press and hold this and hit this, and it moves to SSB. And I can zero beat it. Nothing there.
I'm just having a ball doing this. This is one of my favorite things to do. And frankly, if we weren't doing this together,
So this thing works great. And I think, I'm pretty sure that Adele, the technician, went through this and provided the service where he, obviously he added the LED light to make this thing glow in the dark. And then I think he also changed that filter to the Sony 2010 filter. And probably did capacitors and alignment and all that stuff. This thing works awesome. Works awesome. And then there's a earphone jack, and then that's a plug out to a tape recorder. On the side, you got a light and a AC power adapter, and then this side there's nothing. It runs off 4 AA batteries. And let's see, go to the memories.
We need honest, God-fearing
weariness. And on an actual death toll.
sponsored by Preborn.
Reasonable price, ones that I could find.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me.
clad Detroit Lions move from our left to our right. Pacing back
And so,
is Jake Bates.
let's see, let's unhook the Wellbrook.
NFL star turned
Because I know this
NFL
thing has a ferrite bar antenna inside of it for the AM broadcast band.
line drive kick.
But I don't know if it's overridden because of this.
Once again, let's go downstairs some more.
Let's find out. Let's unhook this. Listen. Nope. So it's on the ferrite bar antenna. And if we move it, well, that's a strong signal. So probably won't lose it anyway.
And told the line, he said, tonight we're going to hit him and remind him, if you're running, you are a running back.
Well, Jack
That's a distant station up in Oklahoma. Anyway, but that's it. This thing works great. It really, really does. And it's very sensitive on the internal antenna. So you can pull that all the way up, and it's really long. And if you're outside in the backyard, and this thing is sensitive, and with the two filters, the wide and the narrow filter, and the fact that one of them is like an upgraded filter, like from a Sony 2010, it's the 6 kilohertz. So that I think that's the wide filter, or maybe it's the narrow filter. Yeah, no, I think that's the narrow filter, and then the wide filter is like really wide, like 10 or 11 maybe. So you get a lot of fidelity on like AM broadcast. So no, I'm very happy. And then getting SSB, it's just so cool. And I downloaded the manual from the internet because when I first got it, and I'm trying to tune in like 6754, and I'm like, oh, I can't tune in 6754. What's up? And then I read the manual. It's like, no, you're married to the tuning steps that they give you, but you can get between them by using the fine function, whether it's AM fine or SSB. And then you use this up here. Awesome. And then it does all, you can scan the memories, or you can scan everything that's not, like the whole, you could do a whole band, and you can set the low edge and the top edge of your scan, or you could just scan your memories, whatever you want. Or you could, you can do an auto tune where you're like, let's say you're listening to something and you just want to see what's the next frequency. You can just press it for like 1.5 seconds and let it go, and it'll scan up to whatever the next signal it finds. No, this thing is awesome. I love it. Absolutely. It's fun to play with. This one is fun to play with too, but this one, like I said, it only does, it only does AM broadcasts. So basically 520 to whatever the top end is, 1600 or whatever. And then it won't do above that on the HF bands. So you can't get shortwave on this thing. You can get FM broadcast, you can get air. Can you see that? AM, FM broadcast, air band, and public service band. So, it's not general coverage. So like we're on, there's not gonna be any airplanes flying, or there might be. Let's put it on there and turn it on. Let's see here, let's see. Memory scan. So can you guys read that? Oh, I got to put the squelch on. Auto squelch. See that? It'll tune until it finds something.
70 to heading over 3603.
Then the receive light goes out until you get the signal. So it's right now, it's doing memory scan, all of the 10 memories I preset on the airband. This will do the exact same thing, whether it's airband or FM broadcast or AM or shortwave. Same thing. And like I said, that auto squelch function works the same on this one as it does on this one. And so now it's on manual squelch, so you could manually tune the squelch, back it off until it's off. And then it serves the same function. But this thing is the cat's pajamas. And if you're an old man like me, you know that your dad used to say that. Maybe your dad or your uncle used to use that term. Okay? So if you're in your 60s, your dad probably said it, or maybe one of your uncles would have said something like that. And if you're not in your 60s, you're probably like, what is this crazy old fool talking about? Anyway, enough. Okay. That's it. Awesome radio, awesome seller, awesome technician. Look them up on eBay if you need to get your Sony fixed. All right. Thanks for hanging out.